Hi, Sivani. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for having me on, Yana.
How you've been doing? I think it's morning, where you are now.
But it's kind of late morning. I actually had a very relaxed start to my day today, which is unusual. Normally I'm up at 5:45, but today I just felt like staying in bed. So it was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it's good sometimes to have a sort of to do nothing, as I like to say. So you and I think we found each other on one of the Facebook groups that we're both members of. I can't remember which one. And we spoke before, and we've discovered that we both like sort of spirituality, holistic well-being. You're into yoga. I love yoga. So this is a very positive opportunity for me to sort of collaborate with another like-minded soul. And could you please tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, well, so I got into yoga in my 20s. I was pregnant and I started having joint problems. In fact, my joints were so stiff, my middle fingers wouldn't bend anymore. So I was like literally walking around flipping the world off. And the doctors didn't have anything that they could do for me, obviously, because I was pregnant, and the drugs at that time were pretty harsh. And then when I gave birth, same thing. If I wanted to breastfeed my baby, no drugs for me. So I had to start finding another way. My sister returned from college and she's like, "You got to try this yoga thing. Maybe it'll help." So I found an old person class where it was once a week. And I went and I took that class, which was very gentle, very easy. And in 9 months' time, I no longer had any of the symptoms of the rheumatoid arthritis, which was what I was diagnosed with. And the doctors were amazed. They were like, "This doesn't happen. This isn't real." So that kind of really flipped a switch for me for the Vedic tradition. And then after that, I got into meditation. I was actually a monk for like 13 years.
Oh.
And then now I'm big into Ayurveda, which is the preventative medicine of the Vedic tradition.
Mm. When you mentioned yoga and it sort of helped you with your health problems, I've met so many people. I've been practicing yoga for over 10 years who have said the same thing. Someone had back problems, knee problems, all kind of problems. And I remember there was a lady in one of my yoga classes. She was in her 70s, and she said that she would practice yoga for the rest of her life. And she was super flexible. And I was like, bloody hell, woman, you're super flexible for your age. And she said, yeah, that's just because, it's all yoga. And I want to go back to what you said. You said you used to be a monk for 13 years.
Yeah, so that was I had what would you say? I had some trauma when I was a child. I actually had a sister who ended her life, and that pretty much destroyed my family. So after the whole yoga thing, I kind of started to wake up because it was helping me get in tune with my physiology, and there was a lot of complaining going on. And it also started opening up my mind, like that I was doing a lot of pretending and a lot of faking. So I found a meditation practice, and when I started using it, it was just amazing what it was doing to help me connect with my inner truth instead of being plastic, which is the way I was. Um, and I also became aware that my relationship with my husband it was pretty much not really a relationship at all. I was his employee and, all of those sorts of things. So, when I started using that meditation practice, I knew I had to do it more and longer because I really felt like I needed to heal what was going on inside of myself. Otherwise, either I was at risk of doing the same thing my sister did, or my children would be. And actually, my oldest would frequently say, "I just want to kill myself." So that was like one of the things that was so like, I mean, I was just so panicked. I needed to find anything that would help. And interestingly enough, that turned out being that I was going to be removed from them for a while till I could get this really stable inside of myself. It was probably the hardest time in my life of choosing to really heal that generational trauma on my side so that I wasn't passing that down. And that did mean that there was other traumas that I had to pass down to do that, which was resolved a little bit, like when they all got in their 20s, then we started resolving all of that.
What you're saying is very courageous and very powerful because a lot of people are always blaming the outside world for what is going on inside of them. And they're too afraid to look within and admit to themselves that they need to work on themselves. And what you did is actually very inspiring. And would you say that your personal experience inspired you to create your online library, if I can call it like that?
Yeah, hands down, because I feel like the reality is that a lot of women in today's day and age are so numbed to the parts of us that are really our strengths. And in fact, that's what's leading to a lot of autoimmune disorders and all of these other pains and aches in our body. It's because our body is telling us. So the library, it focuses on the 6 areas of wellness and how we can just start asking ourselves, not like, is this the right way to be, or is this the, good way to be, which often happens when we are used to our world around us that tells us this is good, this is cool, that we should do this. But to stop all that and start listening to our own hearts, what do we need? What's important to us at this time? To start asking those questions. And then as we get more in tune with that inner intelligence, I mean, most women historically were known to have amazing intuition, and it's something that's kind of being stifled inside of us now. So to reawaken that, re-empower that so that we can begin making these maybe daring and bold choices that ultimately are the best for everybody.
Yeah, divine feminine is rising. I am seeing sort of my friends who are spiritual, have spiritual businesses, myself included, are seeing a lot of women sort of they've had enough of following the generational programming of a woman only has to be a housewife and keep her mouth shut and things like this. And now I'm seeing women who want to get on with things. They want to start their own businesses and they want to meditate. They want to explore their inner self, their inner power, in a way. Um, so, in your sort of experience, would you say that women have transformed um, over the recent months, recent years?
Well, I feel like if I was just going to take the snapshot of my life, that like when I was raised, there were some women that were working and doing things. Like my mom started to move into that when I was, I don't know, probably 12 or something like that. But what I noticed is in the collective of girls that I was raised with, we all wanted to be a lot more masculine, and our dads weren't allowing that. Um, and so then we really fought for that kind of right to be that way. However, I don't think we really had the right framework to do that, to, awaken and enliven the masculine that's inside of us without diminishing the feminine, that divine feminine that you're talking about, that's beginning to rise up. And again, that's where I feel like that's the big challenge in our world now, and where as women we could get together and start nurturing and nourishing that divine feminine so that we can do these very masculine, because again, everybody, men have the feminine inside of them and all of that. We are both, but how do we do that in perfect balance inside of us? And when we do, that's when we experience that perfect health.
Yeah,
When doing yoga classes for 9 months can do more than what the medication could have done anyway,
yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of stuff, that's where we can have those results.
Yeah, I agree with you. In terms of, I'm going to go back to yoga because I love yoga and I've always wanted to have a yoga teacher on my YouTube channel, actually. So in terms of yoga, do you sort of do classes? Do you teach people yoga? What do you do with your knowledge of yoga?
Yeah, so at this time, I do not teach the physical asanas anymore. To me, yoga is something that is more the uniting of the surface level of our mind with that bigger self that
Mm.
exists within us. So that's the primary focus of that. And then does that involve the physical asanas? Yes. And does it involve other sorts of disciplines and practices that help us do that in a way and maintain that connection? Absolutely, hands down. But I don't typically teach the asanas anymore. Instead, I would refer to somebody who loves to do that, loves to touch, loves to do all those aspects, so that the woman can feel very nourished and supported in that experience.
Um, Also, I would like to sort of talk about meditation because when I started my coaching business, a lot of people were struggling to get into the practice of meditation. And I always say, meditation is practice. If you don't practice, it's not going to work. Can we sort of quickly talk about the benefits of meditation, and hopefully this information will inspire people to give it a go?
Yeah, well, so there are different forms of meditation. And sometimes that can be one of the things that somebody's, heard meditation's good, so they try one or the other. So there are three different types of meditation. One helps us become more objective. So we begin having the capacity to watch our thoughts and feelings move through, and we're just watching those thoughts and feelings. And then that helps us in our day-to-day life to be more objective when these thoughts and feelings are moving through us. Another type is called, or what it helps to do is sharpen the mind, sharpen our focus. So we could be honing in on a particular thought or whatever, and then that helps us become very focused in our day-to-day life. And then the third type is a little bit more mechanical in nature, and it helps us drop beyond the surface level of all of our identity and experience the source that is within us. So for different people, wherever they're at in their spiritual journey, in fact, what's interesting in mine is that I needed that one, that final one, where nobody else was guiding me and nobody else was talking and none of that kind of stuff. That I wasn't focusing on my body, but instead I was having something that took me all the way to the source of who I was, so that I could rest there. And then later, I ended up having the capacity to do some of these other meditations and found amazing benefits in all of the various different practices. So sometimes, if it's not working, it may be the type that you're exposing yourself to. Like those guided meditations didn't work for me in the beginning because I had some severe trust issues. So having
Hmm.
somebody else's voice in my head was not going to work for me. I needed to be able to do it on my own and then experience those benefits. And it also needed to be simple enough that I could do that, that I could take these tools and take them away and do it on my own in a very safe, cozy, comfortable environment. So that would be my advice for anybody who's really struggling. It just may be the type of yoga that you're exposed, I mean, meditation that you're
Yeah,
exposed to.
yeah, I agree with you because the way the system have programmed us, we try something, it doesn't work the first time and we give up. Well, we need to give it some time. And as you said, there's different type of meditation. To be honest, I've heard about this, but I completely forgot about it because I've experienced something similar to you. I started with guided meditations, and then after a while, I've noticed that the voice distracted me. So I thought, let's try and do it quietly. And it actually worked. Right, so let's move on to your beautiful website. I think I've got it open here on my screen. So I want to talk about Explorer's Library, and then we're going to move into your book. So what is Explorer's Library?
So essentially, it is a a cozy little place. That's why it's called library, to kind of set the stage that when you go in there, there is not going to be all of these people coming at you and, me, 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 me. I feel like that's oftentimes when I go to social media, that not that there's anything wrong with social media, but when I go there, there's everybody is like, hey, me, or buy this, do this. Do you want my program? All of these types of things. So instead, what I wanted to create is this kind of womb-like area where you could go in and nobody is pressuring you to do anything other than begin to explore what is going on inside of you. So one of the things that I've chosen to do is utilize other wellness experts because I know that there are a lot of different people and they all have different needs. And for example, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but there are so many amazing women out there doing amazing work for women. And some of my experts are doing it for both genders. So it's not really about that. Instead, it's these experts coming in and talking about, what made them inspired to do something different in their life, to start making wellness a priority in their life. And was it easy? And if it wasn't, what was going on for them and how did they persevere? And then ultimately, what are they doing with that? So that the purpose of that, and it's interesting, I do it, I create it all, but when it comes into my email, I still find tons of benefit in doing this reflection and then listening to what the expert has to say and extracting those nuggets of wisdom into my own heart. And also, all of their courage and their perseverance is continues to motivate me to take those steps forward. So that's kind of what the library is meant to do, is to nourish and also to uplift and help you step into your expert self as well.
Oh, sounds amazing. So if someone wants to join the library, what do they need to do?
Yeah, so you could go to my website, exploreyogahealth.com, and there's a little tab up there that says Explores Library. Um, and that's how you would get in there. There is a membership fee for that. And if you want to skate around that, then you could definitely connect with me and be an expert. Then you can have free lifetime access.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm going to include your link at in the description of the video anyway. Right. So, if I've got anything else to ask, I'll ask, but I'm curious to find out more about your book, The Library of Inner Wisdom, this magic word again, library.
Yeah, yeah.
What
So
inspired you
again,
to write this book?
this one for me was kind of the much more personal reason of why the library came to shape for me, because it is an external reflection of what I found on the inside. So then I go through my own journey of how all of these things began to surface. Like that I did very briefly here, but I get much more in detail in the book about the challenges I faced and how this Eastern tradition was able to come through for me. And that goes through 6 rooms, if you will. So this library has 6 rooms. It's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, relational, and financial, all of those aspects of my life that were transformed kind of one step at a time, because I wasn't really, oftentimes we need to focus or hone in on a particular area, but that's kind of what my inner intelligence was leading me to do this one first. So first it was the physical, and that's where the yoga asanas were so important to me. And then that led to the next thing and the next thing. And very similar to the library, the whole point of the book is maybe to hear my story, but not follow it. It's just meant to be an inspiration for you to begin asking, in this area of my life, am I feeling well, or is this also stifled? And does this need my attention? And if so, what do I need to do? Where do I need to go? Who do I need to talk to? Kind of thing, to begin to experience that. Because there's really no reason that we don't live content lives where we are satisfied and fulfilled. There's really no reason for that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I read somewhere that abundance is all around us, but what we tend to create is limitations. Yeah, that sounds really good about the book. I'm actually considering buying it. It's also on your website, isn't it? Your book.
Yeah, so right now it's being sold exclusively on Amazon. So if you were to go to my website and see it, then that would take you to the Amazon link where you could buy it.
Right, excellent. If someone wants to work with you, is there any particular services that you offer to people? Is it only your library and your book? Is there anything else that you do as part of your project?
Yeah, so currently I am just starting a kind of 6 month journey where we go in through what I'm going to call the Phoenix method.
Mhm.
And that helps us get in touch with ourselves. I'm going to back up just a little bit. One of the reasons why this is important to me is because when I began studying Ayurveda, I still had this, I need to do it right. I need to
Mm.
be good and I need to follow all the rules and all of that. So I became extremely passionate about changing, making all these changes. But what I discovered was my body freaked out. It was not ready for that kind of change that fast. Um, and this is something that has repeatedly shown itself to me that if we don't create that safe space where what we're doing is really helping the individual find that truth inside of themselves and move from that place, then all we're doing is flipping on more of that masculine world, like the dogma, the rigidity, the this is right. So Ayurveda is a very subtle medicine and it really needs the person behind it to be committed, to be ready to make those changes. And if not, then all that stress in trying to change,
Mm.
in trying to be something better, trying to have that perfect ideal body, all of that trying is actually going to inflame the problem even worse. So the program is designed to help individuals begin to connect with those steps. Like, first, let's face that. Let's make sure that you know that before we explore any of the concepts or the ideas of transformation, that we're in tune with our inner intelligence, and then we're building from that place. So if there's a whole array of things that could transform, could change for our better, that we're only doing the things that our inner intelligence says is right for us now, instead of
Mm.
trying to do all of it all at once because we're already doing way too much all at once. So dialing it down, finding that, and then this is what results in lasting health transformation. And I know that because that's what I had to do. And now, from that result of following myself, even if the professional, the expert, or whatever was saying, you need to do this, if what my inner voice was saying is, no, we need to do this, then that's what I follow now, regardless of what anybody else has to say, or again, what even the rules or the dogma, and every single time that's what's resulted in that transformation.
Mm. So is
Essentially, that program is.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So this okay, this program is it live? Can people join in?
Yeah. Yeah, so right now I'm gathering individuals to participate. I will start with a small amount of individuals to go through this with me the first time. And that way I can ensure that they are getting all of the attention they need, and also helping me refine. Because, like I said, I've done it with myself, and I know the process and the pillars. So now I'm gathering others to explore that with me, and that will help refine this system, this method, through that dynamic back and forth. And that also means that anybody who is gonna sign up with me would be getting a discount. They'd be getting it way
Oh,
cheaper than what it will ultimately be.
that's always a good news. Right. So before we finish with our conversation, I just wanted to ask. Oh, actually, first of all, if somebody wants to join your program, can they do it from your website?
So it is not on there, but there are ways to contact with me, and that's how I would want to do it anyways. I'll just need to have that live conversation. I'm big on that. Everybody wants to, be disconnected, but this one really does
Yeah.
require us having that heart-to-heart connection and really figuring out what's going to be best for you and all of that.
Yeah, because you want to have the personal touch. You want to make sure that the people you're going to work with are aligning with you.
Absolutely.
That's
And that
that.
I can really help them. And if not, then I want to be able to send them in a direction that they are going to receive that help.
Yeah, there is a link on your website, or there was. People can book a call with you. Is this still the case?
Yeah, so that should be on the Work With Me page.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, excellent. Right. So, yeah, that sounds really good. And I often say that one of the many, many benefits of running your own business is that you get to choose who to work with. Because when you work with for someone else, you don't really have a choice. Even if you don't like your colleagues, no one cares. Right. Any last words of wisdom? Is there any guidance you would like to share with whoever is watching?
I think the biggest thing that I want people to hear from me is that regardless of where you're at in your journey, if you could begin turning in and cultivating that relationship with your inner intelligence, and it doesn't have to be a big deal or a hard thing, you can just consider the fact that there is a part of you that knows exactly how much oxygen needs to be extracted out of the air to fill and nourish your cells, and how much blood needs to be moved around and all of that. So this is the part of us that knows exactly what we need and when we need it. And if we can begin just slowing down and even asking, just even if there's no answer in the beginning, as we begin to ask that, then that's where the response of that inner intelligence is, they're listening to me. Okay. So now I have an opportunity to voice what that is and start following in that. And ultimately, that will be your path to contentment and joy in your life.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. The only ways for people to connect with you, I assume, is via your website.
Yeah, so that could be on my website. If you're on social media, you could search out my name, Shivani Ashaya. It's kind of a hard one to spell, but it's down on the bottom of this little window right now. Um, so that I'm on social media. So you could reach out to me that way too if the website feels too complex.
All right, excellent. Yeah, it's Shivani. I don't know why I say Sivani. Anyway.
Well, it's spelt that way,
Yeah,
so
yeah. Well, thank you so much for this beautiful conversation. I'm very grateful that I connected with another goddess. And I wish you a beautiful day.
you as well. Thank you so much for having me, Yana. This was just a pleasure and a delight to spend time with you.